In today's video, we're going to make a snap barrette with a crochet flower and 2 leaves. So this is the barrette I'm using, and the crochet is directly crocheted onto the barrette so it won't fall off. And I'm using just a typical 2-inch snap barrette. I'm using one in a light color so that it doesn't show through with the thread. I'm also using a 2mm crochet hook and a number 20 thread. To begin, I'm going to open the barrette. I'm going to begin on the narrower side. I'm going to insert my crochet hook into the opening of the top part of the barrette, and I'm going to take my thread and loop it onto the hook like this, and I'm just going to pull that through like that. Hold this thread with your thumb, yarn over, and then hold that tail. Now I'm securing it with this finger, and I'm just going to pull my crochet hook through, and that's my chain 1. And now I'm going to insert my crochet hook into the barrette again, yarn over, pull up a loop, and do a single crochet. And then everything is a little loose right now, so I'm just going to tighten it up. Now I'm going to do 21 additional single crochets across the length of this top part of the barrette, and I'm going to do them over my loose tail right here, so that when I'm done I can just cut the little bit of tail remaining and I don't have to do any weaving in. I'm going to insert my crochet hook, yarn over, pull up a loop, and do a single crochet. And I'm going to continue doing that until I have 22 stitches total across. So I inserted my crochet hook, yarn over, and do a single crochet. I'm just going to continue doing that all the way across. And the key is you don't want to twist the loops that you pull up over the barrette. So just make sure that they're always lined up, and you can just even everything out once you're done with the row, but you don't want these stitches here twisting over each other. And it's going to get a little tight in here where the barrette is. The hook is not going to fit perfectly as you get to where it's tighter here. So you just kind of keep pushing your stitches down to where there is space towards the front of the barrette. At this point, I've crocheted enough over this tail that I'm not going to bother doing that anymore because it's going to start getting in the way. Now I'm at the point where the barrette is going to be very tight right in this ridge right here. So the only way my crochet hook is able to fit is if I turn it on its side, slip in, and then pull it through like that. If I do it head on, the hook is too thick. I don't recommend using a crochet hook that you really care about while you're doing this because it can scratch the hook. So I originally did this with one of my clover hooks and it actually damaged the hook and it became very sharp and jagged. So I recommend just using a typical aluminum hook like this. And then when we spread that out, you'll see that it completely covers the barrette. We don't want to see any of the barrette peeping through. So if you need to do more than 22 stitches, by all means do so. Just try to keep it an even number so that the picots that we'll do later come out correctly. Now to create a bridge from one side of the barrette to the other, I'm going to chain 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then I'm just going to turn the entire barrette. That chain 4 is going to go across the back of the barrette, and now I'm going to do my 22 stitches along this side. And with this, I actually bring my hook down to where it's not as tight, and I start doing my stitches over there, and then I can just slide them back up when I'm done. Okay, I've done my 22. I'm just going to twist this so that it's laying flat. If I have any twisted stitches, I'm just going to straighten them out with the crochet hook, and they just straighten out automatically. So now I'm going to bridge the gap from one side to the other at the front of the barrette with chain 2. So just 1, 2, and then I'm going to close this barrette so that that is out of the way now, and I'm going to slip stitch into the first single crochet that I made at the beginning. I'm just going to do a slip stitch right there, and that is the first round completed for the barrette. Now I'm going to do the picot edges all the way around. I'm going to do a single crochet in the same spot that I did the slip stitch in. So it's going to go right there. It's a little hard to get the hook in. I'm going to do a single crochet. Then I'm going to chain 3. 1, 2, 3. And I'm going to put my hook, the 2 bars created by that single crochet, like that. And then I'm going to slip stitch that into the top of that chain. I'm going to skip 1 single crochet and I'm going to do a single crochet in the next stitch. So I'm doing a single crochet right there. And that created my first picot bump. So now I'm going to do chain 3. 1, 2, 3. I'm looking for the 2 bars of the single crochet that intersect at the top of the stitch, and that's what I'm sliding my hook into. So I'm putting the hook into that leg and that leg, yarn over, and then pull that loop through both parts. Skip a stitch and do a single crochet into the next stitch. And then I'm going to continue doing this. I'm going to do my chain 3. And then I'm going to do that slip stitch into those 2 bars. Skip a stitch and go into the next one. And I'm going to do that all the way until this chain 4. So we're up to the last 2 stitches before the chain 4. I'm going to skip 1 and I'm just going to do a single crochet in the last one right there. And this is what it looks like so far. So now in the chain 4, I'm going to do 5 double crochets. So I'm just going to yarn over, go into the chain, and do 5 double crochets. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it looks like that. Then in the very first single crochet here, I wanted to match this side, so I'm going to do a single crochet into it. Like that. And that's what you have so far. Chain 3, picot, skip 1, single crochet in the next, chain 3, and we're just going to go all the way to the end over there. So again, you just want to make sure your picots match up more or less. So I have 1 there and I want to have 1 there. So if you have to modify this to fit whatever you're doing, that's totally fine. And now I'm going to do 3 half double crochets into the 2 chain. I'm just going to go directly in there. There's 1, 2, 3. And then I'm just going to slip stitch into the first stitch from the previous row to close this off. And there is the beginning of the barrette. So again, if you see anything that's twisted, now's the time that you can kind of straighten it out. I'm also going to pull on this tail that I had crocheted over just to make sure it's tight. Sometimes it'll bunch up under that first row. Close this up. I'm going to trim this right now because I don't need it. And there is part 1 already completed. Now I'm going to use some glue to glue down the 5 double crochets and the 3 half double crochets on either end. I'm going to put a little bit of glue on the barrette, and then I'm going to pull on this a bit because I want these double crochets to completely cover the barrette, and you can kind of just maneuver it around a little so that it lays the way you want it to. I'm just going to hold that for a moment. So that's it laying glued down. And now I'm going to flip up these 3 half double crochets. I'm just going to put a dot of glue on this end, and I'm just going to hold that down as well so that it is covering up the very end of the barrette. And there is the barrette glued together. Now we're going to make the flower part. I'm going to use my pink. I'm going to chain 15 plus 3. 1, there's my 15, and now I'm going to do another 3. 1, 2, 3. I'm going to skip 4 of these chains, so 1, 2, 3, 4, and in the 4th chain I'm going to do 2 double crochets. 1, 2. That counts as a 3 double crochet cluster. Then I'm going to chain 1, skip 1 stitch, and then do 3 double crochets into the next one. So 1, 2, 3. Chain 1, skip a stitch, and then do 3 double crochets again. Chain 1, skip a stitch, and do 3 double crochets again. Chain 1, skip a stitch, and do 3 double crochets. And you're going to do this all the way to the end, and in the last stitch you're going to do 3 double crochets. I'm up to the last 3 double crochets, so I'm going to chain 1, yarn over, and in that very last chain I'm going to do the 3 double crochets. 1, 2, 3. And this is what we have so far. For the next row we're going to chain 2, 1, 2. I'm going to turn the work, and in the first stitch I'm going to do a double crochet. In the next double crochet I'm going to do 2 double crochets. And in the third double crochet of the previous row I'm going to do 1 double crochet again. So it looks like that. Chain 2, and then in that 1 chain from the previous row I'm going to do a single crochet like that. Then I'm going to chain 2, and then I have 3 new double crochets from the previous round, so I'm going to do 1, an increase, and 1. So 1 double crochet in the next stitch. In the next stitch 2 double crochets, an increase, 1, 2, and then in the next stitch 1 double crochet again. Chain 2, and again in that chain 1 space from the previous row we're going to do a single crochet. Chain 2, and then we're going to do a double crochet. In the next stitch a double crochet increase, and then in the next stitch another double crochet. We're just going to continue doing that to the end as well. So it's 1 double crochet, an increase, 1 double crochet, chain 2, single crochet in the chain 1 from the previous round, chain 2, and then you repeat the pattern again. And that is the foundation of the rose stitch. I'm going to cut a tail and I'm going to fasten this off. Now we're going to make the leaf. Chain 10. And then we're going to skip the first stitch. We're going to do a single crochet, a half double crochet in the next stitch, four double crochets in the next 4 stitches, then a half, a single, and another single. And I'm only going to do this on one side because we're not looking to make a really big leaf. I'm not going to cut the thread. I'm going to chain 10 again. And I'm going to do the same thing again. I'm going to skip the first chain. I'm going to do a single crochet. And in the next one, a half double crochet. In the next 4 double crochets. Then a half double crochet, and 2 single crochets. And there's my 2 leaves. Cut a tail and fasten this off. And there are the 2 leaves. Now we're going to put the rows together. I'm going to use glue, but you could also roll this up and sew in the ends if you want. So I have my piece here, and what I'm going to do, I'm going to show you this first without the glue. I'm going to put glue along the edge, and then I'm just going to roll the rows up like that along the bottom, so that only the bottom part is glued together, and then when it's done it will form a rose. So I'm going to begin gluing the bottom just along this edge here. You don't want to go up too far, and I'm going to begin rolling the flower. Don't roll it too tightly, but when we're done rolling it, while the glue is still wet, we'll be able to maneuver it around a little bit to open it up to a way that we want. So I'm doing this glue in sections just because I don't want it to be a mess. Just ignore these tails, they're just going to get glued in place. And then just this last bit right here and along the top seam. Now while it's wet, I'm going to kind of fan it out a little bit because I don't want it to be a closed rosebud. I want it to be an open rose. And I'm just going to let that sit and dry. This glue dries really fast, so this will be dry in no time. Now I'm going to put everything together. So I'm going to use my glue again, and I'm going to glue the leaves onto the rose. And I have my 2 tails just at the back of the work here, and I'm going to just let the glue get on these tails so it can just hold it in place. And then I'm going to put my 2 leaves on like that. And that's what the rose looks like with the leaves. Now I'm going to flip this over. I'm going to cut these tails not all the way to the end, but just so that they're not going to be visible. I'm just going to have them on the back of the work like this. So I'm going to place the rose in the middle part of the barrette. So I'm going to put some glue over here, and I'm just going to place the rose on the back of the barrette. And then lastly, we just need to get rid of this tail, so I'm going to just flip it to the back. I'm going to trim this. I'm going to lay it along the back. I'm just going to put a drop of glue, so you're never going to see this back here. And I'm just going to lay that across the glue, and that will just hold that in place. And then if you see any other tails, just trim them. This is wet, so I want to leave this alone for right now. But there is the finished barrette. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe. If you make this project, please let me know. It was a really quick one. It makes for a beautiful gift if you know any child that would want to wear this. And I highly recommend it. It's really customizable. You can make the rose however big you want. You can add more leaves. You could do several small flowers, whatever you want to do. Please like and subscribe. Have a good day. Bye-bye.